Hi students, today we're looking at the triangle angle theorem lesson. Your learning target is I can identify the properties of angle measurements in triangles. And for this lesson you will need a piece of scrap paper and scissors. So if you don't have that, go ahead and grab that now. And then once you get that, go ahead and draw a triangle of your choice, any triangle at all. I drew, or I have this one on your notes for you. And then what you're going to do is first you're going to label each triangle angle a different letter. So I'm going to do A, B, C. So you're going to work on first. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and take your scissors and cut off the tips of each triangle on each side. Cut the tips off so you'll have three pieces and then this piece in the middle, which you don't need anymore. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video now and go ahead and do that. And once you've finished that, you can go ahead and take the triangles that you just cut, or the pieces of the triangle that you just cut off. You'll have the A piece, the B piece, and the C piece, and see if you can somehow arrange them to form a straight line. So go ahead and mess with that for a little bit. It is a little bit challenging to figure out at first, but see if you can get them so that there's a straight line once they're all combined. Go ahead and try that and pause the video now if you need to. If you figured it out, once you have that straight line complete, you should have angle B will be here, angle A will be in the middle, and angle C will be on the outside, or C and B can sometimes be switched. So you should have all those angles form a straight line right here at the top. That's what we're looking for. And you know from previous lessons that there are a certain amount of degrees in a straight line. So how many degrees are in one straight line? There are 180. So you should have that memory triggered. Once you see a straight line, you should remember that there are always 180 degrees in a straight line. So what does all of that mean? Well, this is what we're learning today, the triangle angle theorem. This states, and it's right here in bold, the triangle sum theorem states that for triangle ABC, remember we label shapes based off of the letters that we give them. So this is triangle ABC. So we know that for triangle ABC, the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C will give you a certain amount of degrees. And because we know that these three angles can be put together to form a 180 degree line, we know that there are 180 degrees inside of a triangle. So the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C is going to equal 180 degrees. That is what the triangle sum theorem states. So knowing that, we can use that information to solve for some of these triangles. So on your paper, go ahead and write in, this angle is going to be 30 degrees. This angle is going to be 70 degrees. And you need to find out, what is this angle going to be? A lot of times on your homework, you'll see it represented with a variable. I'm going to use X. So what is this X going to be? Go ahead and take a moment and try to solve it. All right, if you've come back from trying to solve it, you're going to look for, we know that with the triangle sum theorem, all your triangle measurements, the angle measurements, are going to add up to be 180 degrees. So we know that this first angle right here, plus this next angle, plus the angle we don't know, is going to equal 180. So we can write an equation. We can write 30 degrees plus 70 degrees plus X equals 180. And if you're working ahead in your brain, you might be able to combine all this and already solve it, but we're still going to work through it. 30 plus 70 is 100, plus X equals 180, and 100 is positive, so we need to subtract 100. Let me get some more space. Subtract 100. And subtract 100 from this side. Therefore, I'm running out of room, but x equals 80. So the angle that we don't know, the x in this one, is 80 degrees. And that would be your final answer. Okay, now for this one, we're going to use some different angle measurements. We're going to use 45, 45, and we're going to have to figure out what this one is up here. So go ahead and take a moment and figure that one out and see what you get. And actually, I'm not going to give you the answer on this one. I want you to just try it and see what you get. All right, so moving on, let's go ahead and look at exterior angles. And exterior angles are very similar to the idea of parallel lines cut by transversals. We're actually going to be following along in your book on page 119. And on page 119, you'll see some definitions at the top. And we need to be able to know those definitions. So let's go ahead and go through them. There is a triangle. I'm going to draw it again over here. There's a triangle. Come on, pen. And that triangle looks like this. It's basically a triangle with one side that's a little bit longer than the other. And they have that labeled angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go ahead and draw this here as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then they've got some terms highlighted in blue for you to look at. The first one is an interior angle. An interior angle is formed by two sides of the triangle. So interior angles, basically think of interior, meaning inside. They're inside the triangle. So if you go ahead and write a definition that makes sense to you for this interior angle. Oh, and if you'd like to, you can fill in this blank right here. They add to be 180. The interior angle, the book says it's a triangle, is formed by two sides of the triangle. Angle 1, 2, and 3 are interior angles. They're just angles inside the triangle. That's how I will remember it, so that's what I'm going to write. And then logically, we can make a guess about what an exterior angle is. It's very similar to an exterior angle on parallel lines when they're cut by transversals. An exterior angle is the angle formed by one side of a triangle and the extension of an adjacent side. So that's some other geometry terms you might not remember from a while ago, but adjacent means next to. So adjacent means right next to. They share an arm, or they share an arm basically. These two angles are adjacent because they share this arm. So an exterior angle, if we go back down to our drawing, is something like angle 4. This is exterior. It's on the outside of the triangle, and it's the result of this line right here that I'm making a little bit darker, this line being extended. So that is an exterior angle. Okay, so I'm just going to write it's an angle outside the triangle. All right, and then we will get to what a remote interior angle is in just a moment. So for this example, go ahead and follow along on page 119 on Explore number 3. So it says to extend the base of the triangle and label the exterior side as angle 4. So here's my triangle that I have, and they want me to extend the side of it. So go ahead and do that. Extend this and then add a line. And we're going to label this as angle 4. The other angles should already be in there for you. You've got angle 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is where you should be at right now. And then we're just going to walk through it. That was step A. So step B says the triangle sum theorem states that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. So I'm just going to say that 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 180. And remember that the M with the angle in front of it just means the measure of angle 1 or the measure of angle 2. So all three of those angles are going to add to be 180. then they want you to just specifically look at angle 3 and angle 4. So I'm going to make that in yellow. And look just at these two angles. What can you tell me about these two angles? What will their degrees, what will their angles add up to be? Well, the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 is going to form a straight line, because why? Why will that form a straight line? It's a linear pair, and that's the word they're looking for in that blank on question C. They want you to recognize that it's a linear pair. It's a straight line. It's two angles that come together to form a line. So it's a linear pair. I'm going to change yellow because that's hard to read. And so go ahead and look at section D. That one says, use the equations in B and C to complete the following equation. So we know from the first equation, from this red equation that I first wrote, the measure of angle 1, this is what they have in the book as well, the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. And we know that the measure of angle 3 and the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 4 also equals 180 degrees. So therefore, we can use the property of substitution just like when we were solving linear equations, and we can simplify that to say that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4. So basically all I did is I took the fact that they both equal 180, and I know that this whole part equals 180 and this whole part equals 180. Therefore, this part right here and this part right here must equal each other. So I'm going to erase this so you can catch on. So copy this down if you have not already. All right, so I shifted those equations around for you. So now you have the measure of angle 1, 2, and 3 plus the measure of angle 3 and 4 are going to be equal to each other because we already know that they both equal 180. We already found that out. So we can use this and get rid of the measure of angle 3. We can solve for the measure of angle 4 by subtracting for the measure of angle 3 from both sides. Just bear with me for just a minute if you're confused. And we're going to get rid of both of those. So now all we have left is the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is going to equal the measure of angle 4. All right, so go ahead and look at our triangle again. This is called the remote exterior, or the exterior angle theorem, and it states that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 will equal the measure of angle 4 right here. Okay, so that's what they want on step E. They want measure of angle 1. They want this final line right here for that to be on step E. All right, so go ahead and rewatch that section if you need to and fill in the blanks for the rest of page 119. And then for your practice for tonight or for today, go ahead and complete Explore number 2 on page 118 and do A through H. And it requires some critical thinking, so go ahead and make sure that you truly understand what they're asking you to do, fill in the blanks as best as you can, and then we'll be correcting them in class tomorrow. Also, go ahead and begin page 120, numbers 1 through 6. So also go ahead and do page 120, numbers 1 through 6. There's only 6 problems, and I think you guys will be able to handle it without a problem. So go ahead and do those 6 problems and page 118, A through H, and email me if you have any questions.